Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. I saw this from the Lady of Crypto here. If you feel depressed about how the market is going, just remember that's how financial markets work. They make you feel depressed and hopeless until you capitulate, and then that's when the rally starts. So guys, some words of wisdom here from somebody who has experienced multiple crypto cycles. Market feeling not terribly euphoric at this moment in time. I know I discussed some of these things at my Q&A session for my Patreon subscribers yesterday. Thanks so much to all my Patreon subscribers who did attend the Q&A. I hope you guys got a lot out of it to do more in the future. And yeah, I do this in part too because I want to impart some of my wisdom here on, crypto newbies who may not understand what we're going through at this moment in time. So on this channel, just a few days ago, I did ask how many are experiencing this right now being your first bull run versus someone who's maybe been in the space for a little bit longer. Regardless of the answer, though, we can always learn new things as time goes on. So, as we're seeing Bitcoin start to make its way back up, yesterday I was talking about this, a higher low here on the chart. And then we saw Bitcoin start to rally a little bit and then come right back down into this low level here. So doesn't look like, the market is really cooperating with us at this moment. But guys, this is exactly how they want us to feel. They want us to feel depressed, hopeless, especially for these newbies coming into the space. You guys can see here, even sentiment is now down to neutral, down in the low 50s. Some of the lowest numbers I've seen in quite a while, and by quite a while, I mean a few months now. You guys can see the market cap is up to about $2.25 trillion. So that's down by 3.76% in the last 24 hours. The 24-hour volume is at 62.31. That's down a little bit. Dominance is still holding at 53.2. A sea of red today for the crypto space. By and large, we are seeing a lot of red in the crypto space. Not too much to write home about with regards to, any cryptocurrency, I guess I would say. And XRP following that same trend here. Bringing up XRP here on the hourly, you guys can see XRP is also falling to that same fate. The Bitcoin move to the downside has affected XRP as well, and now we're seeing an XRP trading just over 50 cents per coin. So not the narrative that we were hoping for, but guys, again, I still think we're very early on in this narrative. It will change as time does move forward. BRICS News here posting this. Top economist is saying that the US dollar is getting worse. So that's the other thing. We got to take a look at markets. The US dollar is connected to other markets like the stock market. This is the S&P 500. And over the last 3 weeks, now I have it on the weekly here, you guys can see there has been a pump to the upside. Now the question is this going to falter once we do, reach this high? Are we going to see that double top structure? Or is this thing going to keep pushing to the upside? Macroeconomic events are going to play a large role in this. So US dollar getting worse, that's definitely not a good sign. The US dollar is the de facto global currency for all commerce and trade settlements across the world. However, a handful of developing countries, including BRICS, are feeling the pinch of the uncontrolled US dollar debt. The debt climbed above $34.2 trillion, and central banks find keeping the USD in reserves a risky affair. The market crash will not only send US markets tumbling, but hoarding the dollar in reserves will severely impact BRICS countries. To safeguard their native economies and currencies, developing nations are looking to end reliance on the US dollar for trade. And so we've been hearing of some BRICS countries already doing that. Robert Kiyosaki, he also did warn that the US dollar is going to look a lot worse in the near future. He explained that mounting debt and printing trillions of dollars could be the main reason for its decline. This is the first reason why the BRICS alliance is looking to stay away from the US dollar. Kiyosaki also explained that the best investments that could keep money safe are gold, silver, and Bitcoin. So by Bitcoin, I guess I could extrapolate to and say many other different cryptocurrencies, guys. It is good to diversify in this market. I'm not making the same mistakes I made last time and only holding about a handful of cryptocurrencies. I have diversified because if we hit that 100x banger, well, the rest will be history. Just think of what Solana did in the last bull run. So what I'm looking to do for my Patreon subscribers is I'm looking to identify those potential coins that could 100x. And if they do, boom, we're in and out like Flint. So you can follow me if that's something you're interested in. Crypto market is going to take its time. And we still have time. Remember, this is just the beginning. Bitcoin is still just kind of correcting, just kind of easing out of this as we prepare for that next leg up. Guys, This is a bullish pennant pattern. Remember that. It is good to see a Ripple partner make note of the volume of real-time payments and how that is growing annually. They've also noticed that the United States is lagging in real-time payments. So this is a report coming from ACI Worldwide. Real-time payments, one of the fastest growing areas of the global financial architecture, but the United States remains far behind. And why it matters, okay? Where money can be sent straight into the recipient's account within seconds are faster and cheaper and more accessible and convenient. They reduce costs and improve liquidity for businesses and help banks achieve greater efficiency. So again, this is per the ACI report. Where it stands, the U.S. Has had private sector real-time payments since 2017. It is also newer central bank-backed system, FedNow. It significantly lags, says Brazil's central bank PIX, which launched in 2020. So even though they do have FedNow, they're saying FedNow is actually lagging. I guess because they're not utilizing, the potential of XRP to its fullest, the potential of RippleNet to its fullest. FedNow is integrated to RippleNet through Valente Technologies and many other partnerships now that we have identified with FedNow. Yet, because there is still questions surrounding cryptocurrency at large in the United States when it comes to the regulatory clarity, we're not seeing that being rolled out quite yet. And ACI Worldwide, they're saying, okay, this is a problem. And they're comparing it specifically to Brazil. So Brazil saw 37 billion real-time payments in 2023, collectively worth $4 trillion. And the US, by contrast, only saw 3.5 billion worth about $1 trillion. So yes, definitely lagging far behind. Even with the Fed solidly behind real-time payments, they still account for a negligible portion or proportion of total payment volume. Guys, this has to change. And, even though we are seeing this now, even though, this is a recent report by Ripple partner ACI Worldwide, I do think there still is a lot of this story to be told. And I do think the United States will catch up once we do have that regulatory clarity. Now, I'm of the belief that once we do see this regulation, like total regulation, we need to see it really kind of run the gamut here. We can't have any loose ends. And I think government realizes this. They realize they can't do it kind of, there's no half measures, okay, with this thing. We have to have, or they see this as needing to be fully rolled out, fully compliant, no leaks in the system. And then at that point, guys, that is when we're going to see cryptocurrency reach its full potential. And so, I was talking about this in the live Q&A timeline for this. I've also mentioned this on this channel too, that I'm looking at the end of this bull run, the tail end, once we do see that euphoria phase near the end of 2024 and into 2025. Hopefully, luckily Ripple has been partnering up with, different companies now to kind of expand their reach. And I think this is another clue as to where Ripple sees the market going. So Medico is further drawn within Ripple. Will it be renamed? It's worth pointing out they helped form a custody working group for the International Security Service Association and Global Digital Finance last year. Also, this is in addition to Ripple joining the International Swaps and Derivatives Association around the same time. It was also widely reported that several Medico executives left after Ripple did acquire them. This happens frequently with acquisitions. Relevant to this thread, there were some execs who did not depart, of course, and Wrath Economan is great. He's posting all the necessary resources in this tweet thread. Seamus Donahue, he's been with Medico since 2018. He did not leave and became the chief of growth at Ripple. This seems perhaps relevant as he was a co-chair as well of the custody working group mentioned above. One last tidbit, when Medico was purchased, the press made clear it would remain a distinct brand. So that is what we're seeing currently. I think maybe eventually we could see some of the things change, maybe be more integrated into the Ripple brand, I guess, maybe. But this is standard procedure. Even Wrath Economan does say that here. The really interesting part is that Ripple has conversations in interesting places, and Medico's acquisition does further that. So here we go, guys. We're seeing these clues really kind of back up this idea that Ripple is getting geared up for this full integration, not just for cross-border payments anymore, but it's going to run the gamut. Cryptocurrency is going to play a huge role in so many facets of the world economies, and so not just finance, but so many other things, real estate, and there are so many different industries that can use tokenization and cryptocurrency. I happen to see this too from Ripple partner Airwallex. Okay, they've held talks with several Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds to raise capital as the payment platform startup prepares to join global peers in expanding into the region. So moving into the Middle East, guys, founded in 2015 in Melbourne, Australia, the firm provides services including cross-border end-to-end payments and financial solutions for customers. They've raised $902 million from backers, including Tencent Holdings, so that's one of their big partnerships here. Airwallex, which has over 20 offices around the world, now plans to start operations in the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia in the first phase of their Middle Eastern expansion. And then they eventually are planning to expand to Qatar and Bahrain. So that is big news. Of course, the Middle East, Ripple enabled, very Ripple integrated a lot of those central banks, the Central Bank of Kuwait, Qatar, I believe, the UAE too, I think, Saudi Arabia, I think, if I'm not mistaken, well, definitely, a large portion of those central banks in the Middle East are already Ripple enabled because XRP is that Sharia compliant cryptocurrency. So, that is their priority. Also, the regulation in the Middle East is already very favorable for cryptocurrencies. So, proximity wise, it would make sense for a company based out of Australia now to move into the Middle East. So that's also some great news that I wanted to just share with you guys today. Also on the Paul Barron show, guys, he just mentioned this recently. Now, who is Paul Barron? I've seen this guy's video clips on Twitter. Paul Barron is a content creator for cryptocurrency, but he's also a technologist and futurist that has forecasted various major market shifts in the past 25 years, from a $100 billion impact on the retail business to the impact of social media on our society in 2007. So he is, his whole thing is projecting what is going to be happening down the road. And guys, this is what he said about XRP. Listen to this.
Here's the list of all Ripple partnerships. You can, of course, see all these different, this is crazy. But these are all, there's SBI Holdings right there. Just bank after bank after bank after bank. There it is, guys. This is probably just what is in, the coffer right now versus the deals that they're probably working today to start to execute this even more. So is this a sleeping giant that could be waiting for an explosion?
He's asking it. We've been asking it for a while now, but obviously now he is seeing the potential there to project that XRP could in fact be that sleeping giant ready to make waves in the coming, dare I say, even months, like less than 12 months, because, we're nearing, we're almost in the middle of 2024. So nearing the end of 2024 and into 2025, when we hope to see this bull run really start to take off again. And again, I've been saying, XRP liquidity mixed with real world utility, that is going to be a match made in heaven. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But US government has to be on board. Eleanor Turret did post this recently in a response to Coinbase's request for interlocutory appeal. The SEC throws shade on Judge Torres' decision in the Ripple case. And the SEC, of course, being criticized by this by Paul Grewal. Well, Paul Grewal here did explain what has happened with the Coinbase case. Today, the SEC filed its response to file an interlocutory appeal with the Second Circuit. The commission couldn't help contradicting its own arguments for the same kind of appeal in Ripple. Here's just an example compared what they said before and what they are saying now. And so he does post some screen grabs here of that. I will link this in the description of the video for you. Let's at least have an honest conversation here. Forget about the split across agencies, circuits, and elsewhere. There's not even a consensus about Howey and digital assets among the district judges in the same courthouse at Foley Square. Read the SEC's brief for yourself. And he does also link the brief here. Moon Lambo saying, great catch. The SEC has and will continue to speak out of both sides of their own mouth. It's not about faithful allegiance to the law and intellectual honesty. It's about whatever legal argument the SEC thinks fits a particular position in the moment, which is why the agency ends up constantly contradicting itself. So, kind of pinpointing it here, I got to say, my favorite example of this particular flavor of dishonesty is that in the Ripple lawsuit, the SEC said it wasn't claiming XRP itself was a security, but then went on to make arguments that are equivalent to stating that XRP is a security, which became known as the SEC's embodiment theory. Pretty gross. And I tend to agree with this statement here. If they are contradicting themselves, it's just not a good look. The court is going to zone in on that, and I think, the judges are smart. They're not going to be fooled by the SEC trying to play these pretty rudimentary games, I think, at this point. Bill Morgan also commenting on Eleanor Turret's original tweet. Yes, if no court follows SEC versus Ripple and the SEC wins all these other big crypto cases, but the SEC does not appeal or does not succeed in an appeal against Ripple, then programmatic sales by Ripple will stand alone as not needing to be registered. So he's talking about the sales in particular. If that happens, even if the case ultimately ends up not being considered bad law, Ripple will be in the clear. with programmatic sales. So at least that is a positive here. And if that did sound a little confusing to you, as it did for Crypto Skeptic, Bill does clarify here. Sorry, it was wordy. In short, decided cases sometimes do not become authoritative precedents and are considered bad law, but the successful party still won the case and moves on with the benefit of that decision. So XRP, in a nutshell, XRP will be free and clear, and that is exactly what we want to see. Ashley Prosper even commenting on the SEC's criticism. Great idea to criticize Judge Torres in your Coinbase filing, just as she is making a decision on remedies and judgment in the Ripple case. So, it's one of these cases of why would you even bite the hand that feeds? The verdict for the Ripple case is in Judge Torres's hands at this point, and she is ready. She's ready, and she's thinking about now, what is that verdict going to be? And, if you're already criticizing her at this point in the game, I mean, maybe they'd feel like they don't have a chance at this point. And quite frankly, they shouldn't have a chance, and they probably don't have a chance, which is good for us. But, why would you even do this? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, wanted to thank Ashley, wanted to thank Bill, Paul, of course, and Eleanor Turret for the original tweet. Guys, Brad Garlinghouse just wrapped up another interview here, covered everything from making a dent in the universe with Ripple to the lessons learned over the years in Silicon Valley with Chris Vasquez. So I do suggest you watch the entire podcast. I don't think I have it as a link in here, but you can just Google Chris Vasquez or go on YouTube and type in his name, and you can find the full interview there. Some of the things I wanted to mention, because it is a fairly lengthy interview, it was over an hour. People ask me, will the SEC appeal? Well, this is Brad Garlinghouse's opinion on that. Listen to this.
I'm curious from your standpoint, how did you stay mentally strong? Did you have any particular habits or systems?
You're assuming I did stay mentally strong.
Well, you ended up lasting long enough to get here. But I'm curious, what was that like for you? And how did you navigate that and, parlay that into advice for other CEOs navigating their own uncertainties?
I mean, look, it takes conviction for sure.
Yeah.
I thought I was right. And we were in a position, Ripple, the company, was in a financial position where we could fight. And I think one of the hard things about what has happened in the crypto space is the SEC has been a bully. I mean, that's the right word. They're a bully because they go after weak players. And to your earlier point about the adversary of the SEC, one of the biggest problems here is they're not a rational capitalistic actor. There's no downside for them spending another $100 million of time, energy, and resource to file the appeal. It's a little like if you're running a company and you sue Ripple and you lose a couple different things, which they have lost repeatedly against Ripple, you probably are like, okay, I'm out. Let's not
worth it. Yeah.
That natural incentive structure that exists in capitalism doesn't exist with a government actor. The people who brought the case, there's no negative outcome to them.
Yeah.
They were gone by the time the SEC lost. The people who continue to fight the case, there's no downside to them. The budgets, and so people ask, well, will the SEC continue to fight this fight? And it's like, well, I mean, to some degree, until there's a new administration, and I mean the SEC administration more than the White House.
Yes, definitely.
They're all in on fighting this fight, and there's no negative consequence to Gary Gensler to keep fighting the fight.
No.
So Gary will keep fighting the fight, keep throwing money, taxpayer money, at these fights against cryptocurrency. And, Brad Garlinghouse brought up a good point there. There is no incentive when you have government agencies with theoretically unlimited money at their disposal. Then there's never this capitalistic incentive, the same kind of incentive that you'd have in the private industry with companies deciding, okay, our coffers are slowly moving down and we're just losing money. So at this point, we're out. And that's natural because people only have limited resources. So the SEC doesn't have that. And that is part of the problem with their decision making. And Brad Garlinghouse does nail that. The other thing Brad Garlinghouse does say, from a completely separate topic from this same podcast, is that a black swan, guys, is going to come in, but that the crypto market, including XRP, is going to be resilient to this. He discusses how the US government is coming after Tether as well. I wanted to play you guys this clip, courtesy of the Bearable Bull here. Listen to this.
FTX and Binance were the two most important, most influential, and probably SBF and CZ were the two most important players in crypto. Now you've got one definitively in jail, one, I guess, potentially headed to jail. And, you know, I bring this up in context of black swans is like, it's hard to know. But on the positive, think about the freaking resilience of this industry and market that 2 years ago, somebody who I thought I knew a lot about what's going on in crypto, I would have said these are the two most important companies. The CEOs of the two most important companies now either are in jail or I think headed there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in some ways, I mean, the CZ stuff I'm less close to, and so I don't know as many details. But look, the resilience of the market, that should give us immense optimism.
Yes.
About what's coming. Do I think there's going to be another black swan? Of course, 100%. I just don't know exactly what it is. The only one that's going to be an interesting one to watch, and I don't even know how he calls a black swan, because I feel like black swan by definition can't really be, it's like predicted. Oh, didn't see that happening.
Yeah.
The U.S. government is going after Tether. That is clear to me. I view Tether as a very important part of the ecosystem, and I don't know how to predict
the impact that will have.
So with the Tether thing, U.S. government going after them, there will be an impact. Brad Garlinghouse is saying, you know, whether it's that's not technically a black swan. I mean, if we do see it coming, there will be another black swan, but cryptocurrencies, including XRP guys, are going to be resilient to this. So business as usual, essentially, is what Brad Garlinghouse is saying. But not only that, the cryptocurrencies with the real world utility, I think, will be the most resilient because we will see real world adoption eventually with these particular cryptocurrencies. And the market cap, guys, the market cap will flow into these particular coins because of real world problem solving attributes. But that's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.